Welcome back. This is Sandy with Sandy's Organized Chaos, and today we're going to be doing this Halloween sunset tumbler. As always, I'll make sure to put everything I used today into the description box below so that you guys can shop those items if you would like to. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and let's wake up, prep these tumblers, and slay all day. Let's do this. Most of the glitters that I'm using today are pink glitters, with the exception of the bottom glitter, which is going to be a black. So I went ahead and prepped and primed my tumbler in just this candy pink color. And I'm going to be using the epoxy method to apply my glitter. So I'm just going to smooth on a very thin layer of that epoxy onto my tumbler, and then we'll get ready to start ombreing those glitters. So I'm going to be doing a 4-tone ombre today, but you can add as many colors as you would like, making this unique and all your own, of course. So the first glitter I'm going to start off with is called Black Diamond, and I'm just going to go ahead and load up that bottom. So the first thing I do, like you see here, again, I'm just loading up the bottom, and then I start to gradually bring it around those corners, letting it cascade ever so slightly. Now, I didn't want it to go up too far, or, up the side of the tumbler there, too far. So I'm just going to let that cascade about 1.5 inches or so, and then that's where I'm going to stop that particular color. But the reason why I chose a black for the bottom is because the wrap that I'm going to be doing has black in it at the bottom as well, and I kind of like that look of it kind of almost looking like it's seamless all the way through the bottom up the sides, because I was going to do it all pink with no black in it. But then I changed my mind, so I like the way it came out. So now the next color I'm going to use is called Beloved. I'm using clear water slide paper to apply the spooky castle and all that. So this is the area that it's going to be applied in. So whatever you decide to put in this particular area, you want to make sure that it's a pretty light color. So this is a pretty pale pink. So that way, whatever you apply to it can be shown through off the clear water slide paper. And I'm also keeping in mind that this isn't like a traditional, you want these colors exactly the same width, because we are putting a scene across the bottom. So again, like I said, you just want to bring that lighter color a little bit more up further than you normally would. So now the next color we're going to move on to is kind of the darker colors, because now we're getting into kind of the sky colors. So I'm going to use a darker pink, and this one is called Adore. And the thing I love the most about doing these kind of scenes where, I've done a few of these, a spooky fog scene last year, I've done Christmas ones and stuff, but these are really great for beginners because the ombre does not have to be perfect, okay? Because we're going to come through, we're going to jazz it up a bit with some inks and all that, and kind of make it our own to kind of add to the spookiness of everything. So again, the ombre doesn't have to be exact, if you're still working on your ombres, this is the one for you. So now the one that I'm going to end it with at the very, very top, this is called Slay All Day, and I'm just going to top that off with this glitter. Now the top glitter and the bottom glitter are a medium chunky, so it's smaller chunky, so it's not like super duper chunky. Anyways, but I'm still going to come through because it is kind of chunkier than the fine, and I'm still going to push that up off the rim. There we go. And I am going to come through and tap down those chunkies, making sure it's going to be nice and smooth for me. I'm going to set that off to the side and let that cure, and then we're ready to add that first coating of epoxy over top of our raw glitter. All right, it is completely dry, and first things first, we are going to come through, we're going to take our chip brush, and we're going to sweep away any of that glitter that just didn't get adhered down to the epoxy, so that way it doesn't muddle up our sunset for us. Now, we are still, like I said, coming through, and we're going to be doing some inks over top of it, so even if you do accidentally kind of mess up this part, it still won't be that noticeable. Again, a great beginner's tumbler here. All right, now that I'm done sweeping off all that extra glitter, I'm going to go ahead and take it outside, and I'm going to give it about 2 coats of my semi-gloss clear here. Again, that's just going to help out those glitters floating around and to give our epoxy something to grip onto, so that way it doesn't potentially wick away off of our glitter. So I gave it the good old-fashioned glove test. It's just where I rub my glove across it, and if there's any glitter on my fingers at all, especially a lot, I'm going to take it back outside and give it another coating of my clear coat spray sealer, so that way nothing shifts around on me. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and give it a coating of about 30 to 40 milliliters of epoxy, so that way we have a nice smooth surface to work with when we go to move on to the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this. I'm going to go ahead and put it onto my turner after I get my epoxy on. Then I'll go ahead and hit it up really good with my torch, popping any little micro bubbles, and then I'm gonna let that cure. Now, while that is curing, I'm going to go ahead and get all my decals put together, printed, cut out, and all that jazz before we move on to the next step. So I wanted to create a fabrica, either way. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. I went in there and I found everything that we used today. So this template right here, this was actually meant for sublimating tumblers, but I'm going to use it to apply my clear water slide paper. So if you're brand new and you've never worked with clear water slide paper, I'm going to attach a video for you so that way you know how to properly seal up your stuff. But for my friends out there that know how to do the clear water slide paper, just go ahead and get that printed out. Make sure you can see my sizing there, just however big you can do it through your Cricut or through your Microsoft Word if you would like to. And then go ahead and get that printed out, sealed, and that'll be ready to go for the next step. For the tree, you just want to get that sized however big you want to do it. I did mine, what is it? It's about 4 inches in height by 4 inches in width, there we go, by about 6 inches high. So I wanted mine kind of big, and I'm working on a 20-ounce tumbler. So again, just take your measuring tape, measure, get everything proportioned out the way that you would like to. And I'm going to do 2 of those trees, kind of just wrapping around on the back and coming around to the front just a little bit. Now the bats and everything, again, just size to whatever size you would like to. The moon it was about 2 by 2, and then the bats they were about an inch, maybe a little under an inch. So again, just cut everything out how you would like to and the sizing that you would like to, depending on the size of the tumbler that you're using. And I used a light pink vinyl for the bats and all that, and for the tree I used black, and then for something wicked, this way it comes, I was going to use light pink, but then I decided to use kind of a berry pink. So again, it's completely up to you how you want to do this, but that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm just going to go ahead and get everything cut out and ready to go now, and then we're ready to apply everything in this next round. Our tumbler is all cured, it is nice and smooth, and we're ready to apply this full sheet of water slide paper. So as you can see, what I am doing here is I was just wetting the tumbler. I went ahead and I placed my water slide paper down into the water so that way it releases that paper backing off of our image, and I am just going to very gently let that tumbler roll on my turner while I gently pull the paper backing out from underneath. If it's super flexible and your image is stretching and cracking, there wasn't enough spray sealer applied. I just want you guys to know that it's not a big deal. Just try to get it off. And if it just seems like it's not going to work, just go ahead and toss it and try printing out another one and resealing another one. But if it was sealed properly, it should just very easily paper backing slide right off. And all you have to do is line everything up and get that water wicked away from underneath your decal. So I just have this little silicone spatula. You get it out of the makeup section at the Dollar Tree. It's for like applying mud mask to your face or something, I guess. I don't know. I just use my fingers for that, but you know, you could even use your fingers for this too, as long as it's, smooth enough. But you're just going to take that and you're going to wick away all that water out from underneath, like I said earlier. And you just want to make sure that no water is left underneath this, because you will be able to tell if there's water under there, because once it is dry, it'll have a milky white look to it. And that's how you know all that water wasn't squeegeed out. And I know you see that little bit of a gap on the back there. I'm not overly concerned about it, because we are going to come through with some alcohol inks, and we're going to, like I said, touch everything up and make it our own unique look. So I'm not even concerned about that gap in the back. We'll close that in with some alcohol ink. And once I squeegee it, I'll just come through with a paper towel and just again kind of go over it one more time, making sure that it is completely dry. Now, you definitely don't want to add ink to it anything below about 30 minutes. You want to at least let it dry for about 30 minutes before we start this process. So that's what I did. I stuck it off to the side, and now we're ready to apply our inks. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have so many inks. It is insane. So just go into your inks, and I want you guys to just find some colors that you really like. I'm going to use a blue. I got some purples going on. Of course, I got black because I want to blend in our seams on our tumbler, but you just want to go grab some colors, and you just want to blend we're going to blend everything together and kind of just make it all one seamless look. I also have some orange as well, which again, I'll show you here in a minute why I used the orange as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my black alcohol ink and start blending in those seam lines. Want straight up that seam line in the back, I'm going to go ahead and take some rubbing alcohol and I'm going to spritz it right on the area of my paper towel that I was using to dab around to blend it in to the seam line. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to continue to take whatever is on that rag and I'm going to go ahead and just keep on blending everything. Now for my new friends out there, I just want you guys to know that black is extremely forgiving, and once you put epoxy over top of pretty much anything that is black, will kind of just disappear. So everything will kind of melt away. So you will still be able to see a little bit of the line of where the water slide paper is at, but like I said, once that epoxy goes over top, it will kind of melt away. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our main color. So I have, what is that, Wild Plum. I'm also going to use this Sunset Orange. This is called Hades. Then we have Batty Blood. And those are the 4 colors that I used for the rest of my tumbler. Now, because I really want to blend these in, I'm going to take my rubbing alcohol and I'm going to go ahead and dampen my paper towel with that first before I choose my first color. I just find that if they are dry straight onto the rag that they don't disperse easily, which makes blending a little bit harder to do. So just moistening that rag with a little bit of the rubbing alcohol really helps out. So I'm starting with my blue first, and with this you just want to almost kind of mimic that silver top to make it look like clouds almost. So that's kind of what I was going for with this. I'm just trying to just tap around. You don't want it evenly straight across. You just want dabbing motions of this blue here and there, kind of just creating what looks like could be clouds in the distance. But like I said, it's jaggedy, it's not perfect. I dip some up into the very top. I bring some down kind of more towards the castle. It isn't perfect, and that's all you want to focus on. And of course, as I get going, I continue to spritz my rag, making sure that it stays a little bit dampened, so that way that blue and all the other colors kind of disperse better for me, creating that more ombre look. And of course, you just want to leave patches of the glitter underneath visible as well. And this is what I'm left with so far with my blue. As you can see, there's patches of it up, there's patches of it down. It's not perfectly around. There's thinner areas, there's thicker areas. This is just very abstract. Now with my next 2 colors, I'm even just using the same rag. It doesn't even matter, or you could use a clean piece of your rag. I'm using the pink, and I'm going to use that Wild Plum, and I'm going to take it and come down just a little bit from that blue, and I'm also going to dabble it up into the blue as well, and I'm going to show you that here in a second, how that looks after I'm done. Now this is how it is looking before I get started on the orange. So as you can see, there's spots of that Wild Plum up in the blue. It's just dabbles of it all over the place because again, we're just working, or we're thinking about a spooky background because we are going to be adding a fog around it as well. So now I'm just taking that orange, and if I looked at the decal itself, the outline of the windows was orange. So I figured I would take some orange and I'm just going to add a glow of that orange around the castle itself. It just kind of ties everything together, I think. Now, after I added the orange around the castle, I came through and I went ahead and sprayed a bit of my rubbing alcohol back into the blue to reactivate it because it had kind of dried out. And I'm just going to go through one more time and kind of blend the Wild Plum into that blue just a little bit more. And this is what I have so far. So I blended everything just a little bit more. You can still see dabbles of that purple, but this is what I'm left with, and this is what I'm going with. So now it is time to apply our glow-in-the-dark fog over top. So some people like to leave their ink sit overnight and then they don't have to clear spray, but I like to just clear spray because I like to move on. This just helps out so that way those colors stay as vibrant as they possibly can. Sometimes they kind of get a little dulled down once the epoxy goes over top, but I've never really had that issue, so I just give it a spray and we're good to go. So I have 20 milliliters of epoxy into my cup. I'm going to apply almost all of that. I'm going to leave a little bit left behind to put our smoky fog look into. So the glow-in-the-dark mic I'm going to be using is called Flaming Glow. And I'm just going to take as much as I would like to and place that right down into the epoxy left over into my cup. Now all the glitter and mica I have used today in this tutorial I got from socglitters.com if you would like to purchase what I've used today. So because this mica powder is a little translucent, it's just going to give it a little bit of that foggy look like we like. I am just going to take this and I'm just going to string it across. I'm going to string it across like the bottom. I'm going to string it across the top. I'm not going to put too much around the center where the castle house is. Yes, you heard that right, castle house. Okay. But you just want to add as much as you want to, you know, however you're feeling it should be is exactly how it should be. So now after you get that applied, I'm just going to take some heat. I'm just going to gently push this around, creating more of that kind of swirly, twirly fog look. So I typically just kind of do this until everything starts to shift, and then I stop and just kind of let it do what it wants to do on its own. I don't like to apply too much heat when it comes to doing that. So now I'm just going to come through with my stick and just kind of help kind of twirl and swirl some of that fog around. And of course, you always want to check and make sure that it has just enough glow for yourself after you get everything applied. And if it turns out it doesn't have enough glow for you, then you can go ahead and apply some more. It's better to, you know, check it, make sure, than to just not check it and then you're like, man, I wish I would have added some more. So make sure you always check your glow before you let it cure completely. I'm gonna go ahead and let that cure, and then we're ready to move on to the last step. Before I applied my vinyl, I went ahead and I gave it a sand up around the rim. I gave it a sand around the bottom, just kind of getting rid of anything that's too pointy or lumpy. And I gave it a good wipe down, and now we're ready to apply our vinyls. I applied the moon with the bats right above the castle. Then I came through and randomly applied the bats before I did the trees. You could save some bats for afterwards to put over the tree as well, but I went ahead and applied them all behind the trees on this one. So this is how I did that, just wherever you want to. Then when applying your trees, I just wanted mine flanking each side of the castle. I kind of wish I would have brought them over just a little bit more, like laid the branches down first so that way I knew that it was kind of like up over everything. But I went ahead and just kind of did it equally on each side of the tumbler itself, and it kind of crisscrossed in the back for me. So for the quote, like I said earlier, I was going to do a light pink, but then I decided to go with this pink that kind of matched more with the fog. So it almost kind of looks like it's in with the fog and saying the words. So that's why I went with this darker color. But all that's left to do after this is apply its last two finishing coats of epoxy, and she is good to go. Whether you take this design and duplicate it as is, or you take it and let it inspire you to create something that is completely your own, I hope that you guys had a lot of fun watching this tutorial today. Again, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.